Counting out $50 in cash forces you to physically watch your resources leave your hands. Today, that friction has been replaced by a split-second, thoughtless tap of a glowing screen against a piece of glass. Welcome to the unseen costs. Today, we're looking at the mechanics of the digital transaction and how the removal of a few seconds of friction is quietly shifting the way we perceive the value of our own money. Why tapping a card doesn't feel like spending. For most of human history, buying a good required a tangible exchange. Handing over coins or paper created a phenomenon known as visible loss. You watched your pile of resources shrink in real time. That physical reality forced a tiny moment of hesitation, acting as a natural biological brake on impulsive behavior. This diagram illustrates how technology disrupted that biological brake. Over time, as we moved to swiping plastic, the solid line representing the financial transaction diverged from the line tracking our emotional weight. Credit cards turned money into an abstract concept rather than a physical reality. Without that sharp sting of visible loss, the natural hesitation that protects our bank accounts vanishes. And without that caution, we become increasingly vulnerable to automated extraction. Every second a customer spends thinking about a purchase is a second they might back out. Making spending completely effortless removes the critical moments of hesitation that kill sales. That's the objective behind one-click checkout buttons, tap-to-pay terminals, and apps that request to permanently save your credit card information. Forcing a user to manually find their wallet, pull out a card, and type in 16 digits creates acute awareness. And awareness is the single greatest threat to high conversion rates. This comparison shows the brain's reaction to different payment methods. On the left, handing over $100 in physical cash creates a shrinking visual and a sharp emotional spike of hesitation. On the right, tapping a phone for that exact same $100 registers almost nothing. There is no sensory feedback of reduction. Think about your own recent purchases. Does tapping your phone feel more like sending a casual text message than actually parting with your wages? Digital commerce grew rapidly because it learned how to systematically bypass the human emotional defenses built around spending. This diagram illustrates the strategy of fragmentation. Once you eliminate the pain of a single large transaction, an expense can be chopped up into recurring microscopic payments, $4.99 here, $9.99 there. Individually, these droplets feel entirely insignificant, but as they stack up silently month after month, they accumulate. They form a rising tide of permanent digital rent, slowly submerging your baseline income without ever setting off an emotional alarm. This psychological shift was gradual. We moved from counting paper bills to swiping plastic to navigating apps, and finally to entirely invisible auto renewals, barely noticing that our awareness was being stripped away. Buy now, pay later systems exploit this exact cognitive drift. They provide the immediate reward of acquiring a new item, but export the financial discomfort to a future version of yourself. By separating the pleasure of the purchase from the pain of the payment, modern commerce has successfully targeted the financial pause. Impulsive consumption is now nearly impossible for the human brain to regulate. Tech platforms no longer prioritize one-off conscious buying decisions. Instead, they optimize for embedded, habitual financial routines. This network graphic shows how modern platforms build entire ecosystems around you. They connect digital wallets, cloud storage, and background software subscriptions directly to your identity until these payments sink so deep into your daily routine that they vanish from conscious thought. Once a financial behavior becomes invisible, it becomes highly profitable. People stop questioning where their money is going, and eventually they normalize the systems silently draining their accounts. Right now, millions of silent renewals, forgotten background memberships, and fragmented installment plans are extracting wealth automatically, every single day, all across the globe. The shift toward digital money has severed the emotional feedback loop that once regulated spending. These systems are optimized for speed, which effectively dismantles the psychological pauses that protect a consumer's baseline. If you want to understand the mechanics quietly pulling the levers of modern life, hit subscribe to The Unseen Costs. We'll keep mapping out the hidden architecture around you,